Hey there, and welcome to our homeschooling journey. In today's video, I do want to share with you guys how the last few weeks of first grade have been. We were able to get one full week of school in before I ended up somehow catching COVID, which completely took us by surprise, and we had to take like a whole week off. I do like to use a planner and just keep track of the things we do just in case I forget, or a few years from now I need to flip through it to see like what the name of this one activity was called, or this resource, or whatever it may be. So the week that we were sick, I didn't really do any school the first few days because, to be honest, I was just like stuck in bed. Like I don't know how or why I never actually caught COVID before, but this time I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed, and for like 2 days it was just a nightmare. And I was solo parenting, and it was just a big disaster. So like I kind of had to rely like on eating out, doing drive ups and this and that. But regardless of the first few days, me feeling yucca and everything, we didn't do any school. But towards like the end of the week, I noticed that the kids were like really bored. They were like, "Come on, give us something to do." So with my first grader, my little one, I just kind of forced her to play. I'm like, just play, make a mess, do whatever you want. I'll clean the playroom in like a week or something. So she went crazy in here. But our first grader, those first few days, he was pretty much just like practicing his piano. There's this like website that we use. It's called like Typesy or something like that. So he was working on that. We did discover like Roto Kodo, which is like this cute like coding website, and he was mainly just like jumping around on his trampoline. We usually go for like walks or outside or something like that, but these are like the things that we ended up doing. And luckily the trampoline, they're like two mini trampolines that I have for like rainy days or indoor like exercises. So that is pretty much how his week went. And then on Friday, I did feel a little bit better. We ended up using like IXL, and we used that to cover math and language arts just because I just wasn't feeling it. We continued with our Type C, more piano practice, Roto Kodo, and the trampoline. So that's literally just kind of how I kept them busy and the learning going while we were sick, besides like playing all the games. With our first grader, we do a lot of like hands-on activities. We do like to learn through play, just because my little one, he doesn't really like to sit down for a long time. He likes to like wiggle around, get up, do something, then kind of step away from it and just get into it with something else. That's kind of like why I'm always having things going. So say like for example, what was it, like I think last week we were doing like a language art activity, and like we were doing the activity and everything, but then somehow he got distracted and he ended up shifting his energy elsewhere. So I just let him be. I let him go play, get that out of like his mind. And he was building blocks, so I just let him build, do whatever he wanted to do. And then once he was like ready, I kind of got his attention, and then we came back and we finished like our language art activity. But I ended up letting him bring like his blocks over, that way he can kind of like be building while he's listening to me. And we kind of made it like a little bit more fun versus what we were just like reading and stuff. But there's a lot of that going in the house. That's why I'm always doing lots of like hands-on activities, because he's a mover. He's a mover, and I'm not gonna just have him be sitting at a desk. Even though I do try, I know he's not always gonna be like into that. And then something that I am pushing more this year than I have the other years is I'm trying to have him be a little more independent. So I want him to like come over here, pick the games that he wants to play, whether it be him playing them independently or him and I playing together. These are all learning games. We have like so many learning games, so many activities here, that we're just like always getting like our brain going. But I'm trying to get him to be a little more independent when it comes to that. So he's been doing a lot of that. Like he just randomly brings them now that he's confident. He like brings them and he says, "Okay, we're gonna play this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, let's do that right now." So I'm like having to like stop what I'm doing some of the times, not all the times. So if I'm like cooking or cleaning or something, like he knows he has to wait. But most of the time he like gets it, and then we just start playing, and we just learn through play. And a lot of these, most of them are geared towards like preschool, kindergarten. We do have like a few first grade games, and then we also do have like a lot of vocabulary, a lot of phonics, just because with his speech delay, his speech journey, that's kind of like what I want to focus on. So we do have a lot of different little things. And then the thing too is our daughter and our son, they love to play together regardless of what the activity is. So my little one is getting like a lot of exposure to his games, and he ends up reviewing and playing like a lot of the baby games with her, which is like really cute because now he gets to lead. But we're having a lot of fun, which I was actually really surprised, because as like you go more into the grades, the higher levels, it starts to get like a little more boring and dry. Like I know that because I ended up homeschooling for 7th and 8th grade with my oldest. So when they get older, they become more independent. They don't really want your help. They don't want to do dictation. They don't want to do spelling tests. They just want to do it all by themselves, you know? So right now that he's little, I'm trying to just remind myself that this is not forever. Yes, like at the moment, I can be tired. I could be this and that. But I've been doing really good where I snap myself out of it and I'm like, it's just going to be a few more minutes. It's just going to be 5 minutes. Just play another game. It's okay, because there's going to be a time where I pull out one of these games or they're not going to want to play with me, you know? So because I have an older child and little ones, I know like the best of both worlds. And that's why I feel like my mentality is so different. And I do kind of keep pushing for the plane to going like all day, you know? I'm like looking over my schedule and I am noticing that regardless of like what we're doing, my two non-negotiables are definitely like math and language arts. And pretty much our language arts is like our logic of English. So that's what we're doing. We're doing that like 4 times a week, as well as our math. But something I'm noticing with math is that he's starting to do 2 lessons a day. So we're kind of getting done in like 2 or 3 days, which I'm kind of like, I don't really know what to do with that, because I am more than ready for us to like keep pushing forward. But I know that we're also able to like review a lot of these things through like game and play. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. Like if we finish early, we just spend the last 2 days, we're still doing math, but we're like playing, you know, we're either reviewing a few things or we're like learning about fractions or reviewing time, stuff like that. That way I don't let him go too forward. I don't know if that's gonna end up like hurting me in the long run. I honestly hope that it doesn't, but I want just to make sure that he's actually understanding like the math concepts, you know? We had a lot going on this month, so we were able to like start our routine and then it fell apart and we're like starting again. So I'll definitely give you guys like another update to see like how that's going. But regardless, I am happy with our schedule. I am adjusting everything based off of his needs, his speech journey, and everything. So you're gonna see me repeat a lot of things, but that's just because the repetition, all I could do is just like help him, you know, get things easier for him to say things, pronounce things. I do thank you guys for being here, for watching, and if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.